My name's Ian. I work for the company Apogee, and here we power your school's website and your school app. And today we get to talk about Rooms, which is going to be added to your school app. That's going to be a place where you can communicate with families. It's going to be kind of a one-stop shop for the communication throughout your district. So on today's training, we're going to talk about what Rooms is, walk you through all the different ways you can use it. We'll make sure you're able to sign in, publish classes, get things going, and really feel comfortable using Rooms. So to begin with today, I do want to share a short, about a minute long video that it will show how your parents and guardians are going to use Rooms within the Etiwanda app. That gives you some context about how we're kind of marketing this to parents, and we can figure out after that how you want to set up your classroom on the back end of that. So I'm going to set up this short little video showing you what the parents will see in Rooms, and then after this, we'll set up your classrooms just the way you'll like it. So here we go.
Say hello to the new Parent-Teacher Chat right in the Etiwanda School District app. Parents will see district and school news and events, and now access classroom-specific announcements and Parent-Teacher Chat. Parents will click Rooms in the bottom right to switch from district-wide and school-wide news to class streams and messaging. Once logged in, they can access their students' classes. The class stream is where parents find updates from each teacher with announcements and upcoming assignments. Parents will click on Menu to access that class's stream, assignments, and messages. They can send a message to the class teacher by clicking the plus button and typing their name. They can also switch to another class by clicking on Classes in the bottom left. Clicking on School App in the bottom right while in Rooms will switch parents back to district and school news and events. Parents can turn on push notifications for district, school, and classroom notifications by tapping Settings and selecting Push Notifications. Say hello to Parent-Teacher Chat.
So as you can see, Rooms is meant for guardians to consolidate everything district, school, classroom into one spot. And for teachers, that's going to make it easier for you because families will know the one place to come for communication. So students and guardians are going to use the Etiwanda app or edurooms.com to communicate. And as teachers, we're going to use thrillshare.com. So I'm posting a link in the chat. It is id.thrillshare.com. I'm going to ask you click on that link or type it into your browser, id.thrillshare.com. Then after that, click sign in with Google. You should be able then to put in your email address and password to sign in through Google. Then you'll come to the account screen. I'm going to share my screen to show you what the account screen looks like. You should see your name up here at the top right once you're in. So I'm going to pause for just a second to make sure we're all able to sign in. If you're successful in signing in, if you give me a thumbs up or a woohoo or something. I see 2 thumbs, Miss Todd and Mrs. Garner. Some animated thumbs. And if you're having trouble, do let me know. It could be an issue on our end that I can get resolved pretty quickly. We'll pause for just a little bit longer. And as we're waiting for everybody to get in, when questions arise today, a couple ways you can ask them. One, you can drop it in the chat. That's great. You can also unmute yourself and ask out loud with your human voice. That's wonderful too. And then we'll also have plenty of time at the end for questions if you want to hold them till then. I think I've seen thumbs up from everybody. If I'm mistaken, you can stop me, but we'll continue kind of forging forward. So on this accounts page, and if you're logged in and you don't see this page, you can click your name up here at the top right to come to the accounts page. We do get data from Aries, so all this information should be correct, including roster data, so your students should be in the right spot. But if you do want your name displayed differently than how it pulls over from Aries, you can click this pen icon, change it. If I wanted to be Mr. Thomas, I could change Ian to Mr. there pretty easily. And down here, you can drag a photo from your computer. You want to upload an avatar or a Bitmoji or something there. And when you're done, you can, of course, click Save Changes. Over on the right side where it says primary language, that's where users can tell rooms what to translate messages into. Rooms defaults to English US, so it's likely you don't have to change anything. But if you've got families at home who speak a different language, they can choose whatever language they want. And any message you send will be translated into the language of their choice. On the computer, you'll set it from this drop-down menu, but from the phone, if they're using the Etiwanda app, that's going to listen to the language settings of their phone. So if their handset is set to Spanish, then rooms will choose Spanish as the translation there. I've got mine set to Greek, mostly because I like the way the characters look and it's pretty obvious that it's translated. Down here under sign-in options, we'll stick with Google. Not going to worry about Facebook or Microsoft. And under integration down here, this is where you can connect rooms to your Google Classroom, and rooms will look to Google Classroom, bring over announcements and assignments so guardians can see what you posted in Google Classroom. If you don't want to connect that or you don't use Google Classroom, Rooms works really well without it, but that is a way to give parents a view into what's going on over in Google Classroom. So that's enough for our settings page right here. Now I'm going to click in Rooms over on the left side of the screen. And when you do click there, it should bring you to this page with all of your classes. There may be more there than you need. That's okay. We're going to publish some classes and send some announcements today. But before we do that, I want to draw your attention to a couple things on this all classes page. The first is this smiley face icon down here at the bottom. Clicking that gives you access to Aptigee support chat. Any questions you have about rooms, this is the quickest way to get a response and get your questions answered. 8 to 5 Central, Monday through Friday. So for you, that is 6 to 3. We're based in Little Rock, so that's our local time zone. But 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and probably a little ways after that based on who we have staff. We've got a table full of folks dedicated to answering whatever questions you have. So this is available to every teacher in your district. Whenever you have a question about rooms or Aptigee, please come here at ThrillShare, ask us whatever you have, and we're happy to answer. We genuinely like questions, and occasionally I've got a weekly support shift where I'll be there to answer your questions, and we're pretty nice. We respond within a minute, and we really do want you to use this. So whenever you have questions, let us know here. And this setup guide video up here, this is a minute 42 seconds walking you through the basics of rooms. So if later you forget how to publish a class or send an announcement or something, this is a good place to catch up on that, or just pop into Aptigee support chat. Either way works great. Right now, we're going to publish a class. This is where I tell you that the work we're doing today is setting the groundwork for what's going to happen in the fall. So this school year, we're not going to be inviting guardians or students to use rooms. So we're doing the training today. We'll have a refresher just before school starts in August or September. Then we're going to invite all your guardians to use rooms. So today we're going to practice some of the basic skills here, make sure we're ready to go in the fall once everybody's going to be here. But to publish a class, you'll click in. I've got my choir class here. Rooms definitely lets you know a class is unpublished. And the good news, since we're not inviting guardians this semester, there's nothing you can do to embarrass yourself or break anything. So go ahead and choose a class and click publish. That way, if we were inviting guardians, they would see someone there to message. So once you've clicked published, I'm going to click into a class I use more often. We're going to start in settings. Go ahead and click settings on the far right of this navigation bar here. And here you can change the way Rooms displays your class name. So if you want it to just be Mr. Thomas's homeroom or whatever you want to call it, you can hover over the class name, click this purple pen icon. I'm going to add a couple more exclamation points. I'm super excited about 4th grade today. Click the check mark to save. This color bar up top that's blue, you can change its color. Not a ton of color, but you can customize a bit there. Over here on the right side of the screen, this is where you tell Rooms which specific Google Classroom to connect to. So if you click import from Google Classroom, you'll have to sign in for the first time, give Google some permissions. And then from this drop down, you can choose your class, choose assignments or announcements or both. And Rooms is going to look to Google Classroom and bring those over. And once you've imported for the first time, Rooms will continue to look to Google Classroom about once an hour to bring anything new. So if you post a new announcement in Google Classroom, Rooms will bring it over so guardians can see it too. But again, if you don't use Google Classroom, Rooms works well as a messaging platform without it. Our last couple of options here are section visibility. Behavior is toggled off here. That is a PBIS reward system. We are not replacing for you PBIS rewards the way you're giving out points now, but I believe your after school childcare group is going to be using behavior here. So unless you are doing after school care, don't worry about the behavior here. And then classwork, I believe, is toggled on for you right now. This is where students can turn in classwork and teachers can grade things. If you've got an LMS that's working for you and you're not going to be having students turn in things in Rooms, you can go ahead and click this purple button, hide the section, and then that way it won't be up at the top, potentially confusing people. You have an option to turn these on or off here. That's enough for settings. Next, we'll click into class info here. And in class info, this is where you're going to put the more static information of your class. Just before we retrain, give your refresher in the fall, your district's going to email out the specifics of what they want here. It's going to be what Rooms is, your teacher webpage, the parent-student handbook, things like that. So be on the lookout for that communication. You'll notice this translate button here. I've got mine set to Greek. So when I click translate, I've got a whole block of Greek text. Unfortunately for me, I do not read Greek, so I'm going to click Show Original to bring it back to English. And that if for some reason on the settings screen you do not see Google Classroom as an option, it's likely because you are not the primary staff member. If that's the case, you can find yourself over here, click the opposite facing arrows, and make yourself primary. You can transfer primary status to yourself. Next, I'm going to click on the Home button. Here's where any announcement or assignment published by the teacher is going to show up. You'll see this announcement. Here's your attendance survey form. I told you I'd show you a QR code. We'll post that link one more time in the chat. Want to make sure everybody gets credit for having been here, all that good stuff. And now I want us to send an announcement. Again, this isn't going out to anybody. It's just a practice using the tool. But if you click announcement here, you can type some welcome down here in the text box. We'll add an exclamation point for excitement there. You also have some bold and italic options down here, some rich text editing. Clicking this button will allow you to attach a file like documents or photos. Over here under add link, you can add an external link that will display down there, or you could highlight and use the rich text link here to put it in the text itself. With these toggle buttons, you can post an announcement to multiple classes at the same time, or schedule posts to go out at a future date and time. Go ahead and send an announcement. It's not going out to anybody, but it's good practice. You can put whatever message you want there. And it should be noted that the home stream here with announcements and assignments, that is a one-way push communication. So whatever the teacher puts here goes out to students and guardians, but students and guardians cannot like or comment on any of these posts. So nobody but the teacher can do something publicly in Rooms. So if a student has questions, they would come to messages to ask questions about it. By design, if you had a group that shouldn't see who else is in the group, they're still anonymous to one another. Next, I'm going to click into messages. This is where you'll probably spend the bulk of your time in Rooms, that back and forth two-way communication between you, the teacher, and guardians at home. On the left side, you see the conversation history, any messages that have been sent. I can click into this message and see the whole semester's worth of discussion. If I look at this message I sent here, you can see the date I sent it, and I can see that it has been seen by the student. So the double green check mark seen means that the student has read my message. That's our read receipt. If they hadn't, it would look like this, where it says check mark, a gray check mark sent, meaning they haven't seen the message. Translation also works here, so I can translate this message to Greek, bring it back into English. Works just like messaging. So students and guardians will use the Etiwanda app. They should receive a push notification from the app when you send a message. And then for teachers, you'll see a red dot on Thrillshare.com for the message you've received. If you do want to install the Thrillshare mobile app on your phone and turn on push notifications, you'll also receive a push notification for messages there. One last thing about messages, Rooms does have two separate ways to handle group messages. So if I click message, this top option, this works like most messages you've seen. Anybody in a group can see all the messages that are shared within that. So if Andrew says something, Ty can read the message and respond to it. Which is great if you have a mom, dad, and stepdad who are wanting to all discuss the behavior of one student. It's less great if you have multiple families and you could increase some chaos. So in the instance where you need to send one message to a lot of people, but not the entire class, that's a good time to use broadcast message. The broadcast works like BCC or blind carbon copy in an email, so I can choose a bunch of folks. You'll notice that when we do invite guardians, they're going to be nested underneath the student. So I've got the student Rachel and then Rachel's guardians, and both folks tell me that they are the guardian of Rachel. So I can put all these people in a group and say, got an A on the last paper. So generally, I wouldn't tell each other students others' grades, but when I click the send button, it lets me know that this is creating 9 separate threads. So each person will receive this message as if it only came to them, and their responses only come to me, the teacher. So it's anonymous here, or at least keeps people separate from one another. And that's messages. But I do see a question that says, do we have to post on both Google Classroom and Rooms? So Rooms will pull things from Google Classroom if you have it set to import. So if you post on your stream in Google Classroom, Rooms will bring that over if you've told it to do so. Now, Rooms will not push things to Google Classroom. So it's only a one-way rake kind of pulling information over into from Google Classroom into Rooms. Right, and I do want to show you Thrillshare Mobile in case you do want to install that on your phone. But before I switch over to my phone in the screen share, I do want to remind you about Aptigee support down here. Easiest way to get help in Rooms. I'm going to switch my screen share to my phone. And Thrillshare Mobile is this app in the top right. You can get it from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And once you've published a class on the computer, any communication you want to do, you can do through Thrillshare Mobile. I'll click here. You're going to click sign in with Google once you download the app, and only published classes show up in Thrillshare Mobile. So that choir class of mine isn't visible here, only the published classes. But you'll notice my 4th grade class with triple exclamation points is here. Lands you on the home screen. Once again, there's that QR code and short link if you need it. To navigate around to different sections, if I wanted to look to messages, I'll hit the menu button. That's the stack of pancakes down at the bottom here. And click into messages and continue conversations. If you want to make a brand new message or a new announcement, you can hit the red plus button in the bottom right. And one thing I really like about Thrillshare Mobile is how easy it is to share photos. Some teachers like to use their home stream almost like a social media feed where they post a lot of photos of what's going on in their class. But unlike social media, your audience is limited to the people the school has said should be guardians in the class. So it's secure, it's limited to those folks, and you're not giving photos to, a company who's doing things with it. So it stays within your school environment. So if you make a new announcement and click this purple plus button on the left side, you can click camera and take a photo of whatever's right in front of you and share that. Or you could choose photo from gallery and share up to 10 photos at a time, or whatever you've been doing with the students. All right. So that is basically it for rooms. It's a great way to communicate kind of concisely, keeping everything in one spot. What question do you have for me?
Is the Thrillshare app also what the parents are going to be downloading, or is that a
Great,
separate app?
great question. So the parents and students are going to use the Etiwanda app. So that's the app for parents and students. Teachers can use the Thrillshare mobile app.
Okay, great.
That's a great distinction. And in fact, if you are a teacher and a parent in the district, you'll want to use both. So
Okay,
if you
thank you.
you got it. What other questions do you have? Well, I don't mind giving you 5 minutes back in your day if you don't mind it. So I appreciate your attention. When you have questions, use that Aptogee support chat, and we'll see you around. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.